My name is Anna Jay Jeffery from Jaybird Yoga, and today we are going to be doing a internal hip class. And so for those of you who can sit like this for hours, today's class is going to be excellent. And for those whose hips just aren't quite positioned in a way that internal rotation feels good, not to worry. It will be challenging, but we will find different variations and different levels so that everyone has this class accessible to them. So to start off, we're going to starting off with cat pulling its tail pose. So starting on our bums with our legs out long in front, we are going to kind of roll over to our right side. So now we have both legs stacked on top of each other, and we are going to have our elbow nice and secure underneath our top. And so bringing that left leg forward. And so option here is to use a block underneath this ankle or a bolster to make it a little bit more accessible out front. And we're going to bring that right foot towards our bum. And so if you are able to, you can grab onto that foot with your left hand. If that is a little bit too difficult, option here is to bring a strap and wrap it around your foot, and then it can bring to you a little bit easier. In the meantime, either staying here with either a block underneath your ankle, strap around your foot. Option is to come onto the ground, and so this will give a little bit more of a spinal twist. And full extension is to allow your eyes to look over to the left. So this gives a nice little bit of opening in the front of the hamstring, in and around the hip, and also a nice opening of the chest on the left-hand side here, and a little bit of a spinal rotation as well if you have come down to the floor. Wherever you found yourself, breathing here. Envisioning creating length every inhale of the crown of your head, every exhale deepening a little bit further into the twist. On the next inhale, slowly letting go of your foot, bringing that other foot in front of you, and if you were on the ground, slowly coming up to seated, and we will bring one foot to one side of the mat, other foot to the other side of the mat, and simply doing some nice windshield wipers here, maybe allowing that gaze to look over the opposite side to your knees. And let's set ourselves up for the other side. So this time bringing our legs out long again, coming back onto our left hand side and having those legs stacked. This time bringing the right foot forward, and again this can be nice and bent if you'd like. You can prop that up onto a bolster, a cushion, a block, whatever you have available, and then slowly allowing that left leg this time to bend, intending that heel to come towards the bum. And if you have space, you can grab onto that foot with the right hand this time. And so I like to grab it kind of on the outside of the foot, but if you want to bring it kind of on the top of the toes or on the inside, it's kind of dealer's choice here. And if you decided to go on the ground on the other side, Finding some balance here, laying back, and perhaps allowing that gaze to go over to the right hand side this time. Nice spinal twist. Feeling the opening on the front of the left hamstring this time. Can be a bit subtle with everything else going on in the body. As with the other side, envisioning lengthening through the crown of head. Every inhale, and twisting versus slightly more every exhale. Slowing down the breath. On the next inhale, slowly bringing those knees back in if you are on the ground, and if so, coming back up to seated, and we're going to bring those feet as wide as the mat again, and just going into our windshield wipers. Alright, and now it is time to go into our saddle pose. So having a block or a cushion or a bolster nearby just in case you need it. And we are going to come up onto our knees and then bring the bottom of the feet just a little bit distanced apart, so enough space so that you can bring your bum into the middle of your feet. And this is where having a block or bolster or anything handy as you come down, and this is maybe where you realize, oh, my knees do not like this. That means my hips are maybe not internally rotated, in which case maybe I need to put another block or another cushion here so that my bum can just chill out right here. If you feel you have space, bringing your bum to the block, testing that out, and if that feels good, option to bring that block out of the way. And so if this feels good, we are going to keep both knees as they are, but I will invite you, in the spirit of yin, to actually bring that right foot up front. Doing just one side at a time makes it a lot more enjoyable for the majority of people. And so if this feels good, simply, and maybe even you can put your hands threaded, sitting here, just really internally rotating that hip. If there's any issues of the knees here, that's really our hips telling us that our hip sockets do not like this. And I urge you to come up a level or back out. And if this feels good, maybe starting to lean back a little bit. Maybe even coming up onto the elbows. And maybe coming all the way down. Now you will notice that this puts a lot of pressure on that lower back as well. And if that is the case, this is an area where having a bolster or a nice block up in like the middle area of the back can take a lot of the pressure off of the lower back. Option to put another block underneath the head, or a nice long bolster all the way along the spine. And if we are still in our two knees together, ability to go any level here. Breathing and noticing where this pose is being felt the most in your body on this day. And if you do have your right knee up to the sky, slowly pushing ourselves back all the way up, and we'll bring that right knee up this time, bringing that right foot down, and again intending to go to the same pose that you did on the other side. So if that's hanging out up here, that's where we are at. Maybe it was leaning backwards a little bit. Maybe we came onto our elbows. Or maybe we came all the way down to the ground. And if you are still with both knees down, again, noticing where you're feeling that the most. Maybe bringing your hands onto the heart, onto the belly. Breathing into all those spaces that we feel this pose. It can be a nice combo of opening on the hamstrings, maybe a little bit in the lower back. Maybe it's in the ankles. And if this does feel like too much of flexion on the ankles, option is to bring a rolled up towel or a nice blanket a little bit in advance of the ankles. Sometimes this kind of flexion is just a little bit too much, and so by putting it right on top of our ankles, it can give us just a little bit more space so that this feels less intense. Wherever you are, slowly pushing ourselves back up. And we're going to bring our large toes to touch our knees as wide as the mat, and we're going to come down into a nice wide-kneed child's pose. Taking some of the pressure off of our lower back here. Pressure off of the knees, off of the hips. Next inhale, slowly pushing ourselves back up to seated. And so, I hope you enjoyed that and felt kind of an interesting opening and yet internal opening of the hips that we don't often do in our poses. Often it's, opening the hips, external rotation, and so this internal rotation is always a nice thing to add into the mix. And so if you have any questions, let me know. You can send me an email or write me on Instagram or in the comments below. And if there's any other poses that you are just dying for me to make a video of, please let me know. I'm all ears. And if you haven't done so, please subscribe. And if you feel called to it, please feel free to share this with anyone that you think might benefit from a little internal hip rotation today.